Here's something I hear often. Someone calls me and says, Deirdre, we're ready to go. The kids are gone, the house is too big, and we just really want to simplify. How hard can that be? And I always pause before I answer that question because the honest answer is it really depends. If you go into this without a plan, it can be one of the most exhausting, emotionally draining things you've ever done. But if you go in with it with the right process, it can actually be one of the most freeing things that you actually do. And the people who come out the other side feeling good, financially better off, actually excited for their new home, they didn't get there by accident. They followed a process. And today I'm going to walk you through exactly what that process looks like. 5 steps, each one matters, and I'll tell you up front where most people go wrong because the mistakes are usually not where you'd actually expect them. So if you're somewhere in that in-between stage where you know a move is coming, but the whole thing feels just too big to start, this video is definitely for you. Why this is harder than most people expect. Before we get into the steps, I want to be honest about something. Downsizing after living in a home 15, 20, even 30 plus years isn't just a real estate transaction. I know that sounds obvious, but people underestimate the emotional weight of it until they're right in the middle of it. You're not just sorting through the house, you're sorting through decades of memories. The kids' old rooms, the dining table where you hosted every Christmas, the garden you planted the year you moved in, and the plants given to you for birthdays or Mother's Day gifts. And I've sat with clients who are completely certain they want to move, and then they open a box in the basement and they're not certain anymore. That's really normal. That doesn't mean you shouldn't move. It just means you need a process. And the process isn't purely logical. There's also the practical side. Most people haven't bought or sold in, as I say, 15, 20 years, and the market is quite different. The paperwork is very different. The clauses inserted are very different. And the way buyers search for homes is different. It moves faster and there are more decisions to be made. And the good news is that all of this is manageable if you break it down the right way. And that's exactly what these 5 steps do. So my step number 1 is I call the vision. The first step is the one people want to skip. They want to jump straight to looking at houses or calling a stager or figuring out what to do with grandma's china cabinet or in China. And I understand the impulse. It feels productive. But if you don't start here, everything downstream actually gets harder for yourself. Step 1 is about getting clear on your vision, not a vague, well, we want something smaller. I mean a real specific picture of what your next chapter actually looks like for yourself. And I sit down with clients and we talk through a handful of questions before we do anything else. What's actually driving this move? Is it financial? Do you need access to the equity in your home to fund retirement? Is it a practical reason? Are the stairs getting too much for you? Is the upkeep just more than what you really want to manage? Or is it a lifestyle? Do you want to be able to lock up and travel without worrying about the house? Most people have a mix of 2 or 3 of these, and being honest about which ones matter most will shape every decision that comes after. So then we talk about what you want in your next home. This is creating our compass. It helps guide and direct us as to where to start. Not a wish list of 40 items. I ask people to focus on the top 5 things. Price is always number 1, bedrooms is number 2, and the next 3 are equally important. Is it a single-story house, proximity to family, low maintenance exterior, a second bedroom for when grandkids visit? Whatever matters most to you, those 5 things become our compass for the entire search. And we also talk through your options in terms of property type. A bungalow versus a townhouse versus a condo versus adult lifestyle community. They all come with very different trade-off in terms of cost, maintenance, community, and resale. There's no single right answer. It depends entirely on how you want to live. And finally, we go over costs, what it actually costs to sell and buy in Ontario right now. Land transfer tax, legal fees, potential repairs or updates before listing, moving costs. I want you to know the numbers before you're committed, not afterwards. And by the end of step 1, you have a clear picture of where you're going and why, and everything else is just execution. So that brings us to step 2, action plan and budget execution. Here's the truth about how buyers shop. Everyone picks the shiniest apple, I call it. When buyers are scrolling listings or walking through homes, they're comparing. And a house that feels cared for, clean, and move in ready will always outperform one that doesn't, even if the bones are identical. Step two is about getting your home shiny apple ready. And it has two parts, dealing with the stuff and dealing with the house. Now, the stuff comes first. I know that seems obvious, but nobody wants to hear it. But going through a lifetime of belongings before you put your house on the market is one of the most important things you can do. For the sale, yes, but also for your own peace of mind. A cluttered house photographs badly, shows badly, and makes it harder for buyers to picture themselves in the space. We want them to see everything your house has to offer and not be distracted by all your things. And I have a decluttering action plan guide I give clients with practical tips on where to start and how to make decisions without getting stuck. It helps reduce what I call decision fatigue. For some people, that's enough. Others perhaps need a bit more support, and they're excellent professional organizers and estate sale companies here in the region who can help with anything from a light sort to a full clear out. And I keep a list of people who I trust and will connect you to them. And once the house is clean and clear, we look at what, if anything, is worth fixing or updating before you list. This is where I bring in a staging consultant. They'll walk through your home with fresh eyes and tell you what's worth doing for the highest return. Sometimes it's paint. Fresh, neutral paint on tired walls can make an enormous difference. Sometimes it's updating light fixtures or hardware. Occasionally it's something bigger. But the stager and I work through it together, and we build an action plan and budget so you know exactly what you're spending and what you expect to get back. No surprises. That's the goal of step two, to have an action plan and budget and reduce the surprises. Step three, finding your next home. Now, here's something important about finding your next home. We're likely doing this at the same time as step two. The reason is simple. Depending on where our local real estate market is at and what price range your home falls in, it may be harder to sell your house than to find your new one, or the other way around. That changes the order of things. So during our initial meeting, I'll share local market information that helps figure it out what is in best interest for you. First, buy or sell. These factors, your price range, and what the market is actually doing at that moment. And once your vision is clear and your home prep is underway, we start the search for your next home. So here's how I run it. We've already set up a home search using the criteria from step one, those top 5 things. So you're only seeing homes that actually match what you said you wanted. No noise, no time wasters. And as you see each home, I have you rated on a simple scale of 1 to 5. Anything below a 4 gets dropped. It's not meeting your criteria, and that's useful information. If we get to 4 or 5 and nothing is hitting 4 or above, and we have to revisit our criteria to figure out what we need to shift, and we'll make that shift. And to give you an example, I had a couple who found what they thought was their next detached home, and they both ranked at 4 out of 5, but they didn't want to prepare an offer. That was our clue that although the house was great, there was something missing for them. So we discussed what it was that was missing, and it turned out in this instance that the wife actually wanted more light and sunshine, particularly in the kitchen area. They were living in a north-facing condo at the time, and it wasn't very bright, and she really wanted more light for her plants. So when we get it right, most people find the next home within 8 to 12 showings, not dozens, not months-long search, 8 to 12. And when we find the right one, we do the proper due diligence. I review the sales history, the listing history, and any red flags I can find, and we look at comparable sales, and we determine the right offer price. Not a guess, but a strategy based on what the data actually tells us. And we structure the offer with the right conditions for your situation. That might include a condition on sale of your home or a home inspection or financing, whatever protects you. And when the offer is accepted, we celebrate. Yay! Genuinely, that is a huge deal. And that brings us to step 4, and that's marketing your home. Step 4 is selling your home. And this is where a lot of agents will tell you they do, things like photography, MLS, social media, but What I want to focus on is how we think about it. The goal isn't just to get your house in front of buyers, it's to get your house in front of the right buyers, presented in the best possible way at a strategic price, so that when the offer comes in, you're in a very strong position. Strategic pricing is the foundation to everything. We use actual data, recent comparable sales, current inventory, how long homes like yours are sitting on the market, and to land on a number that's going to attract serious attention, not a hopeful number, a strategic number. And I offer a customized 3-tiered pricing strategy that lets you choose the service package that best suits your needs and budget. Each level builds on the one before, and this way you get the services that fit your individual situation. For example, selling a condo may not require a pre-sale home inspection, so why choose a package you won't get the full benefit from? Also, I offer services like staging and cleaning and more things. And I work with a network of trusted service providers who can help with the prep side of getting your home ready. So you get exactly what you need, nothing you don't. And for marketing, well, professional photography, floor plans with 360-degree room views, and a short social media video are always included. Your listing goes on multiple MLS boards. I belong to 2 MLS boards, which means your home is accessible to anyone across the greater Golden Horseshoe area and beyond. And when offers come in, we don't just look at price. I walk you through each offer and we rank them on quality, conditions, closing dates, whether it's a cash or finance, what the risk profile looks like. The highest offer isn't always the best offer. The best offer is the one that gives you the best outcome. And that leads us to step 5, the transition. So step 5 is the one that feels like the finish line. And it is, but there's still important work to do here. You know, you've sold your home, you've bought your next one. Now you're in the transition, and it's a lot to coordinate. This is where I give you a detailed step-by-step moving guide, not a generic list, but a practical document that walks you through everything from the day the sale is finalized to the morning of the move. Who to call, what to cancel, what to set up, what to have ready on closing day. We also plan your walkthroughs. I'll arrange your pre-closing inspection of your new home so we can catch anything that needs to be addressed before you take possession. And then your final walkthrough, 24 to 48 hours before closing, to make sure everything as it should be. And then flowers. I send them delivered to your new home. It's a small thing, but it's my way of saying you did it. And I also want to be clear about something. My job doesn't end at closing. You're now part of what I like to think of as my real estate family, which sounds, I know, a bit corny, but I genuinely mean it. Questions come up after the move about property taxes, about maintenance, about what to do if something unexpected comes up, and I'm still here. You still have my number, and that does not change. So here's what most people miss. The thing I see trip people up most often, and it's not decluttering, although that is hard, and it's not the pricing conversation, although that can be very emotional, it's timing. There's a version of this story I've watched play out more than once. Someone knows they should move. They've known for maybe 2, maybe 3 years or more, but the timing never feels quite right. The market isn't ideal, or the kids are coming for the holidays, or they'll do it in the spring, and then the spring comes and something else comes up. You get what I mean, right? The risk of waiting isn't just financial, though that's very real. Every year you stay, you're carrying the cost of a house you don't fully need. The bigger risk is that your options narrow over time. Your energy narrows, your health may narrow. The move that feels manageable at 65 feels genuinely overwhelming at 72. I've seen it happen. Carol and Bert waited 4 years after we first spoke. During our initial meetings, they both were vibrant, busy people. Carol swam regularly and sat on several boards. Bert golfed twice a week and was active with the grandkids. And during that 4 years, Carol developed health problems and Bert's memory issues began to show. And after they moved, Carol confided she wished they had done it sooner. It was much harder than they actually thought it would be. And they had lots of assistance and help from their daughter, and even had a company come in and help them auction off, pack up their future, their furniture and their belongings, and The move was a lot for them, and I don't want that for you or your family member. I'm not saying you need to move tomorrow. I'm saying don't keep deferring the conversation because you're waiting for the perfect conditions. There are no perfect conditions. There's just the decision to start and the process that makes it less daunting than you think. So if you're somewhere in that place right now, you know a move makes sense, but it feels like too much to get your arms around. I hope this gave you a clearer picture of what it actually looks like and to do this well. And I'll see you in the next video.